4.3 billion people live across this vast continent called Asia, and we are telling their stories. On this edition, Defying Disability, how one man in India is climbing to the top despite his physical challenges. Living without limits, parents in China are on a mission to educate the public about intellectual disabilities. Protecting their country, we hear from a couple whose job is to guard a tiny Chinese island. And carving out a new life. One man teaches Cambodian children to build a future for themselves. I'm Ying Hang, and this is Assignment Asia. Welcome to the program. Our first story is about a courageous young man who climbs for a living. That may not sound extraordinary until you hear how he overcame his physical disability to become one of the top paraclimbers in the world. Video journalist Pearly Jacob traveled to Hampi in India to hear him tell his story in his own words.
There's no word to describe why I like climbing so much. I started climbing when I was 15 years old, and today my life is all about climbing. My name is Manikandan Kumar and I'm 28 years old.
In an official capacity, Mani trains me, he's my coach. So that's what our relationship started out as. But I think he's evolved into becoming one of my closest friends.
When I was 5 years old, due to some malfunction in that polio drops, I think it affected me. My right leg was more weaker, below the hip part, and I was using my hands to keep my hold my leg up and put it on the handhold or foothold. But later on I started working out more and jogging a lot, and I used to do a lot of workouts to strengthen it, and later on I became really strong, and I become more like a normal person after a certain point. But I don't think about my life, I just climb, that's all.
Représentant l'Inde est attribué à Manikandan Kumar.
I think when he climbs at his absolute best, it feels like he doesn't even have a disability, because his disability is in his right leg, and he's become quite famous for overcoming that with, incredible upper body strength and campusing. And he is attempting to be one of the best in a sport where footwork is, it's the most important thing in all of climbing. We're not a sporting culture. We are a country that watches and follows one sport.
The sports scene in India is very, very single-sided. It's all about cricket, and so all the money gets into that. So despite the fact that there are really good athletes in India, what happens is cricket tends to dominate the scene. Because there hasn't been this sort of infrastructure to promote sport climbing and competition climbing, that's where somebody like Mani gets kind of stuck, because there isn't that mainstream culture of climbing that's visible. Somebody like Mani has no support. It's incredible that you have a world champion who has no sponsor.
Everything, right from, getting the shoes or harness or, traveling from house to the wall, everything was difficult.
The truth is, we're a country where people are still racing and struggling to make bread and 3 meals a day. So supporting the achievements of climbers, great as they may be, still remains a bit of a luxury. And I think that is a huge challenge for people like Mani, because you put in your own money and you do all these odd jobs, you know, working outdoor camps and training students, many of whom are not regular, so your fees aren't defined per se, and that has to sustain your food, your livelihood, and your equipment, training, nutrition, everything. And it can be really hard, you know, with that money trying to train and compete at the international level.
The last year I had gone to Italy and London and I won 2 silvers in those 2 competitions. But this year I have about, more than 6 events, including 1 World Championship. But I'm not sure about, like a permanent sponsorship, but I'm gonna, work hard and hopefully something better happens this year.
So we're the first outdoors media in India, the first adventure media in India. Part of our goal right here is to create a campaign for Mani to make sure he can keep climbing, that he can definitely be world champion again, and continue doing what he does best.
After Mani won at the World Championship level, it also had a bit of an impact on our federal body, the IMF, and I feel, they started opening up a little bit to sending Indian climbers more to compete outside. Doesn't matter whether you come last, second last, or you qualify for the semi-finals. They've opened up to sending them out. Then there's been this new generation that's been so psyched about climbing outdoors and opening hard routes and not just staying in the competing circuit. So he signifies change in a very positive way, I would say.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of ups and downs in my life, and but somehow it made me really strong, and it made me a better person in life.
Even though he struggles to find sponsors, Mani went to Spain in 2014 for the World Climbing Championships. His trip was funded by donations from his supporters. Still to come on Assignment Asia. A group of Chinese mothers makes it their mission to educate the public on their unique children. And later, we meet kids in Cambodia who are finding inspiration. This week, our stories focus on heroes, and the heroes in our next story are a group of parents in China whose children have intellectual disabilities. Jennifer Bragg reports from Beijing on their experience so far and their hopes for the children's future.
It's a moment of intense concentration, anticipation, and maybe a little fun. This is no ordinary competition. These young athletes share something in common. They all have intellectual disabilities. Today is a special day for people like Ah Wu and his mother, Wang Xiaogong. There was a time when they had no event like this to go to, very few people to talk to, and little support from the community. Ah Wu is 24 years old. He loves music, especially Korean pop. His disability was diagnosed as autism and moderate mental retardation. He doesn't speak much, and when he does, it's repetitive. Intellectual disabilities are characterized by below-average intelligence and difficulty doing the things necessary for daily living. Experts point to many causes, like genetics, or any condition that can slow development of the brain before or during birth, or in early childhood. But many mysteries remain. Growing up, Ah Wu attended primary school and had a positive experience. But when he reached middle school, teachers treated him more carefully, and he wasn't allowed to play with classmates or participate in activities. But in 2005, things changed. His family moved to Washington, D.C. when Ah Wu was a teenager. His mother saw how people like her son were included in American society, and it sparked something inside her.
每天也是跟普通学生一样的上7节课。第一天我跟他去，不会英语啊，所以人说站起来还在那儿坐着，说出去上东上西他也不知道。1个月以后我再去看他，完全自如的在那个1800个学生的大学校，就特别大的学校，在那里面行走自如。所以每一次回来，我的同学都说，成功变化大了。 最大的变化是自信。婚礼最重要的，你得先。
But Wang says when they left the U.S., Awu got worse. The support he had was gone. So she started a parents' organization called Wrong Ai Wrong Le.
特别简单，我就想让残联来做这件事情，因为这是残联的工作嘛。然后他们说，可能还是得家长来自己做。 所以当时我们3个人在一起说，他们2个都说：“哎，你最年轻，你做吧。”
The group gives parents of children with intellectual disabilities something they didn't have before, a forum for parents to talk about their issues and the challenges of caring for their children. Wrong Ai Wrong Le also organizes events where parents, children, and volunteers can play together. It helps the children learn how to develop social skills, something that's usually missing and desperately needed in their lives.
我们开始做的时候就发现，原来特多的人愿意帮助他们，愿意了解他们，愿意跟他们做朋友。然后我们现在这个社会，就是我们做的时间越长，就越发现，因为我们做这件事情，我们还不断地赢得别人的尊重。 自己都觉得哦，我真的是做了一件挺好的事情。
According to the International Labor Organization, 5.5 million people in China have an intellectual disability. Half of them are at an age where they can work, but most of them stay at home with their families. But organizations like Wrong Ai Wrong Le are giving them the training and skills they need to get them out of isolation and into the world. Da Peng heard about Wrong Ai Wrong Le in 2013. It helped him get a job at a high-tech company. His mother says she noticed a change in him, and the first time he got paid, it was a big deal.
他拿工资那天是我们俩非常值得庆祝的一天。第一次拿工资回来哈，那天我一开门，他就攥着一把钱，攥在手里，攥成一个团了。妈，给你，这个是给你的，脚还没迈进来，然后就给我了。啊，我说给我的钱哈，他说嗯，然后我说今天发工资了，是。然后那天我说好，今天要好好庆祝一下。我们2个倒了红酒哈，碰杯，庆祝我儿子今天拿了工资回来了。这个是我这样的，他也30岁了哈，我养育了他这么30年，确实不简单。他第一次拿他自己挣的钱回来，对我这个当妈妈的来说，真是一件非常欣慰的事。
很强的那个状态了，没事儿。
Da Peng is on the milder end of the disability spectrum. He has congenital movement disorder and borderline cerebral palsy. From a young age, as he tells it, his parents and teachers saw that he had an excellent memory, but was slower in other areas.
我吧出生的时候是早产，早产了1个多月，生产的时候又不太好，后来导致动作不太协调，逻辑思维也不太灵敏。小时候发现我动作不太一样，就加紧训练呢，试图教过我一些训练大脑的智力操、思维操等等。
Da Peng attended university and writes songs and poems. With the training he's received and the skills he's developed, his mother believes he can live on his own someday.
"我发现他还是很会说，他嘴巴的那个口才非常好。那我就希望他这个能力能用上，比如他的音乐的爱好什么都能使用上，那当然更好。如果没有这样一个适合我们发挥才能的东西，做一个普普通通的人，只要他能自食其力，我就满足了。
The International Labor Organization has been working with groups like Wrong Ai Wrong Le and the government to come up with ways to give more opportunities to people like Ah Wu and Da Peng, so they can gain some independence and develop better social skills. But big challenges remain.
The first is that the special education schools, they don't provide enough vocational training service to persons with intellectual disability. The second challenge is the parents' stigma and discrimination towards the working capacity for persons with disability. We find that many family members, they refuse to get the opportunity to working in the company because they will lose other social welfare.
Despite the challenges and the road ahead, Awu's mother says her work has been rewarding.
我是阿雾的妈妈，然后我有这样的儿子，就是我真的为自己挺骄傲，是真心的。我特别的高兴，阿雾让我个人的成长，还有这3年来，就是我一生当中也没取得过这么大的成就。
Wang says the growing support she gets from the government and society is key to help building awareness. But the real work starts at home. For Assignment Asia, I'm Jennifer Bragg.
容爱容乐 is gaining attention internationally, and now there are over a dozen parent groups like it here in China. Many of them are informal networks. This is Assignment Asia, coming up next. Living in isolation to protect their country. Meet the guardians of China's Kaishan Island. It's a rare kind of person who can live in isolation. But for the characters in our next story, it's about a sense of duty to their country. Video journalist Lester Xu traveled to Kaishan Island in China, where he met a couple who have spent 2 decades living on their own.
"因为这个岛是我们中国的领土，是中国的岛屿。每天早便我要把5星红旗升起来，这样代表我们的国土有在。这5星红旗撑到哪里，哪里就是我们中华人民共和国的国土，这是我的责任。我叫王启才。 1986年7月14号，经组织考察，推荐我任开山岛民兵少署署长，一直至今。1939年，日本人侵占连云港的时候，首先占领了开山岛。 我是第5任，当时在我前面不到3个月时间，一共走了10批人，最长的待了13天，最短的就是领导上船，他就跳上船走了。领导把我找我谈话，叫说任命你为开山岛民兵少署署长。 但是不许你跟家属或你母亲说，你只能和你父亲说一声。就是3号找我谈话，7月32号，叫13号下午便赶到营业港，14号早便登船。领导带了6扎酒，就是60瓶酒啊，6条烟。我说领导。 我政委啊，搞部长，我不抽烟不喝酒。政委到了，搞半开玩笑就说了，说你不会没事，到上你就抽了。一直到了48天，政委和部长啊，把我老婆送上来。送上来，我老婆都不敢认我了。 还有瘦，胡子挺长的，头发就什么人， 就成野人也不。我们的职责就是观察空情、海情，防内潜外逃，防血沟血瘀。我们的职责就是这样，每天要记录，有什么情况都要记录在本人。我有时候跟3个儿女等了一等，我说我这一生在物质上面我肯定是留不下来给你们，但是在精神上头我是绝对留给你们。老爸在那个地方，一年和你母亲俩3700块钱一年，说哥你们打水都不红，你们脸书啊什么你们自己要。无论如何要精讲，因为我对儿女亏欠太多，我老公俩如果到不能弄的时候，我也不好意思朝儿女要钱钱。我最大的愿望就是夫妻俩老来能有个退休金啊，或医保，这就是我最大的心愿。盼我什么都不想说，但是我坚决为祖国这个开山脑，我把它守好。今天。
This is Assignment Asia. Coming up next, we meet kids in Cambodia who are finding inspiration. Around the world, children, especially in poor countries, are sometimes called upon to help the family, and sometimes at the cost of their education. But in Cambodia, one man is trying to change that by teaching the children a valuable trade. Raoul Morris traveled to the city of Siem Reap, where he met a man who is trying to change these children's lives.
Chất đặt đầm rây, slang đầm rây. Khơi đầm rây chui, priya nó không rút.
11-year-old Threatening L carves an intricate design on leather. Each movement is precise, practiced, accurate. Threat has been learning to put designs on leather for a year and a half. It's a skill that gives her some hope for the future, because her family can no longer support her. Both of her parents are dead.
Mẹ nhắm slap bài nhắm địch bệt. Chú ơi. Bà địch bệt.
Dạ.
Địch bệt.
Bà địch bệt.
Dạ.
Có chuyện gì?
Lan bộ.
Threat lives at the Little Angels Orphanage in Siem Reap. She came here in 2013.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bạn chụp lên một thiện. Cái prợ đường khmai. Ngay mòn này là nghe chơi đường Anh lì.
Threat learned how to carve leather from Siré Ratana. He set up Little Angels Orphanage in 2002 to teach children this valuable skill, because Ratana himself knows what it's like to have to grow up quickly.
ដែរនៅជាមួយយាយបន្ទាប់មកប្អូនគាត់ប្អូនរបស់ខ្ញុំក៏ត្រូវបានធំព្រមពេលជាមួយគ្នានឹងហើយគាត់ត្រូវការរៀនតែខ្ញុំមិនដឹងថាមានលទ្ធភាពជួយប្អូនដោយវិធីណាមានតែសម្រាប់ចិត្តឈប់រៀននៅពេលខ្ញុំអាយុបាន15ឆ្នាំដើម្បីទូលនំលក់
While many Cambodian children have a living family member, they either aren't able to care for the child or the child has to work to support the family. These are the kinds of children Ratana has helped over the years.
និយាយរួមទៅពេលក្មេងដែលខ្ញុំឲ្យអនុញ្ញាតឲ្យចូលមកក្នុងកន្លែងនេះគឺក្មេងហ្នឹងទី1គឺចិត្តបះបង់ការសិក្សាពីព្រោះថានៅគ្រួសារបងគាត់មានកូនច្រើនអញ្ចឹងទៅម្ដាយនៅក្នុងគ្រួសារបងគាត់ទទួលបានការកម្រៃចូលមានទាបគាត់អាចធ្វើការបាន 30000 ក្នុងមួយថ្ងៃអញ្ចឹងកូនគាត់ 5-6 នាក់គាត់មិនមានលទ្ធភាពអីចិញ្ចឹមរួចអញ្ចឹងគាត់ឲ្យកូនច្បងនោះដែលរៀនបានចេះសរសេរចេះអានហ្នឹងសូមឲ្យសម្រាប់សិនដើម្បីជួយគាត់នៅពេលហ្នឹង
In Ratana's own story, he was eventually able to learn leather carving as an apprentice at a local monastery and built a decent living for himself. Now he wants others to have a chance too, but he has one condition. Phana Yim is one of Ratana's students. As a young adult, he is older than most and has been here for about 5 years. Little Angels has allowed him to continue his university studies, and he now teaches English here while also learning to work in leather.
It offers me a lot. I can have the working, and my teacher, he's teach me about make the leather, it's a carving leather, and I can get the money and for study.
Narong Yim is another leather apprentice under Ratana. He has only one parent, but he's disabled and his mother can't provide him with the care he needs. So he splits his time between Little Angels and another NGO-sponsored home. This is Angkor Wat, an ancient temple that's a major stop for tourists visiting Cambodia. It's about 20 kilometers from the orphanage. All around here, children are selling trinkets and cards. Many of them don't go to school. It's difficult to get exact figures on the numbers of Cambodian children who aren't in school. Requests to the government went unanswered, but it's clearly an issue the government is addressing, with laws mandating school attendance. But with still a limited number of resources, NGOs and people like Ratana are filling in. With 78 children living here, it costs about $30,000 US to feed and take care of the young people in the orphanage every year. But Ratana can't do it on his own, so he relies on outside help. Peter Fung is a local hotel owner who left Cambodia in the 1970s and grew up in the US. But he later returned. After learning about the Little Angels orphanage, he wanted to help.
I saw the kids, they were making very intricate artwork, and I just fell in love with the place. All the kids, just amazing talent. And then I spoke to the director, and he told me about the orphanage, and he said they need a lot of help. He didn't know how to actually get his name out there and get donations.
With Peter's help, this is one of the exciting changes for the orphanage. Today, they're putting in a new kitchen.
We've found a few sponsors that helped with the kitchen. We're building a new kitchen for them. So very excited about that. It's been 10 years since they actually had anything new.
Donors like Peter also sponsor individual children, mainly by helping to pay for school costs and meals. A friend of Peter's has just started sponsoring Threat. So as she and others continue to perfect the craft of leather carving, they can at least rest assured that the future holds possibilities. Ratana's philosophy is that he will come halfway, but the children themselves must work hard too.
តែខ្ញុំសង្ឃឹមថាគាត់នឹងទទួលបាន 50% ពីខ្ញុំហើយខ្ញុំសង្ឃឹមថាគាត់នៅថ្ងៃអនាគតនឹងជួបអ្នកល្អនឹងការងារល្អពីព្រោះថាបើសិនជាចង់ខ្ញុំជួយតែបើគាត់អត់ជួយខ្លួនឯងក៏គាត់មិនអាចទៅមុខបានដែរ
With this in mind, he hopes children and young people will have the security and the opportunity that he was denied as a child. For Assignment Asia, I'm Raoul Morris in Siem Reap, Cambodia.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. And don't forget, you can watch all our stories on our website, www.assignment-asia.com. You can also share your thoughts and contribute story ideas for future shows by contacting us on social media. I'm Ying Hong. Thanks for watching. Join us again on Assignment Asia.